Hello, this is Alejandro Bratti and William Eiley from Unlock Clarity, and welcome to the Spanglish World Network on Singo TV channel 250. Please remember to download both the Singo TV app on the respective app store on iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. The app is free and is available in Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Roku, and all smart TVs. How are you, William? This is great to be with you again here today.
I am doing well.
So from last week, we started to talk about the journey within and how we can become self-disciplined when we start to understand from the inside out what are the things that we need to do. We did a lot of the examples of part of my life, and that helped us to put like the baseline of what we are going to continue talking today. Uh, do you have any comments on that part of okay when people is struggling with self-discipline? Maybe what is the first reason that starts to come to our minds of what maybe is happening?
Mm, yeah, self discipline, inner direction, all of that wonderful. What I'm discovering is we have a lot of stories we tell ourselves.
Mm,
We have a lot of experiences that happen, and then we have a lot of stories we tell ourselves about those experiences, and that determines direction. And it's no longer self direction, it's whatever that story says.
mm,
As in, we have a friend that tells us, you can't do that. Why do you want to do that? We have a teacher. We have a significant person in our life, a parent, whatever. It's like, and we tell them, oh, yeah, this is what I think I need to do. Why do you want to do that? Oh, well, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I can't do that. Hmm.
and that for me starts to bring like something one example that we did a few months ago. You remember when I was telling you some words and you started to tell me what were the meaning according to you, or what
Yes.
was the first word that came to your mind. And I know that before this call today we were like discussing a little bit of this. And last week one of at the end of what we I was talking about my life experiences was when I found out that I had a lot of unspoken words on my throat, and that was what was creating all the problems that I have had for 40 years. I don't know. I don't remember when it started, but for a long time. uh, so when we start to understand how language works and how language start to help us to change and realize everything that happens, why we are talking with this journey within is what is inside, and language is programmed first in our unconscious, and it's like no, how that can be possible? Yes, each time that you are talking you are using words, and the way that you are going to put like okay, this is the first word that you say, the second, the third one, the fourth one depends on how you are programmed in your mind. That's how the language has to be structured, and everything starts to work exactly the same. So when we don't have clarity, or we are using a program that is not working to give us the result that we really want, start to be we start to have problems. So unspoken words, where I am going right now is like we were discussing a little bit with this conversation of okay, do I focus on the future and I focus on being perfect, or I focus on the past and or in all the things, all my problems, how I can start to decide where is my focus. And you were giving me one amazing example, and I want to share it with everybody.
So do you want me to tell
Let's
them, or
let's start. Yeah.
let's start? So he's talking about focusing on the past and the lack and the problems and all of that. And what I saw was running from a lion. And I'm looking back at the lion as I'm running. And in every movie that I've ever watched, what happens to the person who's looking back as they're running from the monster? They trip over something and they get eaten. Oh my God, that's incredible. If I were looking forward, I could look at this stuff that was coming and I could avoid it and maybe not get eaten. And so what are we doing? We're constantly looking backwards at our debt, at our this, at that, at not having enough. And we're not paying attention to what's coming our way. Oh, this just dropped in. And in looking back, we're missing the opportunities of, oh, hey, there's a ladder, or oh, there's a rope, or there's a something else that we can use to get away from. And we miss it completely because we're continually looking behind us. Hmm,
and
strange Jesus.
and that's okay from the lion. And I believe that it's amazing because there is a lot of times when we are focusing, for example, in the lack, like, I don't have money, I can do this, I can have I have all dreams, and everybody has some dreams. I hope not everybody, but a lot of people has dreams. uh, but you start to see, like, yeah, I have a lot of dreams, but they are really dreams because are impossible, because I have all these problems right now. And if I tell you, I will be like a week talking about all the problems and some and things that I have. And it's that's exactly the same example. When I am focusing on my problems, that's where my energy is going. I am looking at that lion that is behind me, that I am running away from, and it's like, yes, I want to be away from these problems, but at the same time, I am talking about them they all the time. And that's where my focus is. What happens if I start to see my dreams, and even when they are really far, it doesn't matter. But I start to focus on them, and I start to talk about them, and I start to, like, it's very easy. I can be talking about, like, okay, the lack of money and everything, or I have little money but I am getting to a bunch, you know. uh, and suddenly things start to change. So when you start to, we were talking last week of unspoken words, things that I can speak because I don't want to, because I was taught to don't speak up because of any reason, or I don't want to create problems. Now you start to speak up and you start to say what you have to say. What we are saying today is start to focus on what are you saying and how are you saying it, so you can start to realize if you're looking backwards or you're looking forwards.
Exactly. Yeah. Because our words paint our reality.
And once we start to see the reality of the future, we can start to be, now I can be directed, now I can start to be, have self-discipline. But if I, how I can be self-discipline if what I'm looking is problems, situations, and yeah, that's what, Alejandro, that's my job, I have to be fixing problems the whole day. Okay, but where are you focusing? And continues to be like, where is your focus? Yeah, and on resolving, not in the problem. Okay, start to see how your words are changing and creating the solution and not the problems. Uh, any thought that comes here, William?
Hmm. Being a science person, one of the jokes I heard years ago, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the precipitate, which means that the solution is what stays, and the stuff that drops out at the bottom of the experiment. And I thought it was a great joke, but it goes over most people's heads. By the same token, if I'm focusing on all the stuff that's floating around me, just like you were saying, we're focusing on our problems and such. I'm not looking at what I've actually got.
Mm,
I'm not looking at all the good stuff. I'm focusing on mostly bad. How do you move forward if all you're doing is staring at where you're standing?
exactly. And there is going to be a lot of problems in the way that you go, but focus on the thing that you want, and the abundance and the good things that are in front of you, uh, not in the. So when we are talking about the great things that are in front of us, what things start to come to your mind? For me, it start to be like gratitude, for example.
Mm, excitement, expectancy, joy.
Exactly. And start to come other words, even forgiveness. Yeah, I'm not focusing on the problem, on the angriness or the thing that came because of that situation, but no, I'm forgiving because I have something better in front of me,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and I want to reach it. So that's the difference. That's where a lot comes. Also, I talk a lot in the past, a couple of times when I was talking about where is my tongue, and that's where I started to realize that I was moving my teeth all the time instead of putting the tongue in the right place. And it's exactly the same until somebody like lightened me that okay, you have to realize where is your tongue, and you start to realize that it has to be here and not everywhere, so I can start to make changes. That's what we are doing here with this program. It's started to give you some insights to start to realize, okay, are you focusing on the amazing thing that you already have in your life, or you focusing on the problem that you have? And it can be amazing problems that you have, and it can be big problems. That's fine. But even if it's a little amazing thing that you have in front of you that you can be grateful about, that can start to become something bigger each time that you focus more on the thing that you are grateful, and not because right now the problems are so big because you're focusing on them, not on the other ones.
Exactly.
So we did something very quick last time in regards of the action steps that we recommend. The first one is talking about the practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is always important because it's again going inside and start to realize what is in the inside. The other thing that you start to do when you are in the inside is you are present, you are here now, and you are not thinking about everything, all the problems that you had 5 minutes ago or 10 years ago. That's in today. What is another one that came, William?
Mm. Apparently, there's some stuff in here that I need to hear because my brain is wandering. It's kind of annoying, but it's also very enlightening. Hmm. Okay, so in terms of being mindful, being present, being here right now, um, it makes it easier to identify what I really want. Most of us know what we don't want. Very few of us actually know what we want. And if we can figure out what we want, life gets better because we're focusing on what we want and this, instead of what we don't want, because the universe will give us more of what we don't want. It's like, are you sure you're done with that? Are you sure you don't want any more of this? You keep telling me that you don't want any more of this. Are you sure? It gets old.
Yeah. So that's understanding this, and really being connected with yourself. The second one is about identifying your values. Okay, take time to understand what is what you want, what is your future, what is the thing that you want to create. It's like not all the problems, you're already an expert on those. So start to understand what are the values and what are the things that you really want to focus on in the future. And from there, start to create it. So what comes with that area?
Exactly. So then, once we have our values, once we understand what we want, then it's a little easier to do the achievable goal thing. Because, I might want to be a concert pianist. Am I supposed to be a concert pianist? No, I'm not going to put in the time to practice the piano. I know how to play a piano, and that was 30 years ago. So, yeah, achievable goals, achievable projects, things like that. Uh, you allude we allude to the SMART goal in this one, the specific, measurable, achievable. What is the R for? And time bound? Re-
With the develop a routine,
Relevant, maybe.
yeah, relevant.
Relevant. Okay. And so, yeah, it's just incredible because when we know what we want, then we can make a better path to getting there. We're also not focusing on uh, the potholes and all the other stuff that we had to walk through to get here.
And that's when you start to have this, like, okay, you start to understand from the within with the mindfulness, you start to understand what you really want, and the values that you have for the future. You set goals that are achievable in the process. Now you can develop a routine to become and have something in the future. And that's where your self-discipline starts to work, because you have clarity of where are you going, and you can start to speak that clarity. The problem with when we are not focusing on that is that we are focusing on the problems, and because we don't have clarity of, okay, in the future I don't have an idea and it's very messy, so there is no way. And what we are saying is like, okay, it can be very messy, but if you start to connect with yourself, start to understand what is happening, start to connect with God, with what you believe with, then you start to identify, okay, this is what I want to create. I want to co-create with God this thing. These are the goals that I'm going to put to become that person. This is the routine that I am going to create. But I need some help because this is amazing, but I don't know how to do it. Maybe William, can you help me? So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's as a male, our culture is dedicated to worshiping the god self-reliance. And so we're not allowed to ask for help until we've exhausted all results and maybe we've gotten a few broken bones in the process. Then we can reach out for help. And I've been working on bucking that system for a while now, and I'm not so grand at asking for help, but some people are. And it's like once we realize that, okay, this is what I want, how do I get there? Who can help me?
yeah,
So then, who
The last
who?
part, and this is like the last comment, is just remember, self-discipline is a skill that is developed over time. And when I have more clarity, I can have the self-discipline, and I can start to go in this journey that we're talking within, and we can start to go to the future. But and this is my future. I know that sometimes can be different depending on how you're looking at, but this can be my future. So until I realize that, I can start to become that person or not. So we're at the end of the program. Thank you, William, and we have also Alexia talking. Thank you, Alexia, for chatting and sending comments during the session today. And everybody that was listening. This show can also be heard on Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and leave it. Thank you all. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.